Chapter 1. What the heck is genrefying? A brief, but definitely not dull description of genrefication. You might have noticed that the libraries of today have changed drastically since you were a kid in school. I mean, I gained some serious card catalog skills in middle school, and now everything's digital. We aren't called librarians anymore. We're media specialists, and technology is putting up a fight to be boss of our school libraries. Some of the changes are wonderful and timely, while others leave us worried about the future of our careers. One of the changes that some librarians are embracing is the move towards restructuring how our books are organized. Most of these librarians are quick to talk about how their students are benefiting, but most of the rest of us are standing back, scratching our heads, and wondering how they found time to reorganize their entire libraries. A few of us are even standing strong, refusing to even consider such newfangled ideas. What many of us have forgotten is that we have already genrefied at least a portion of our collections. Your library is currently in the early stages of genrefication. Did you know that when Melville Dewey created his brilliant system, that it included all books? Over time, librarians have found it helpful to make a separate section for fiction, references, children's books, and so on and so forth. Even though the Dewey Decimal System works well, it isn't perfect. I'm sure we've all tried explaining to a group of 7-year-olds why nonfiction can't just be classified as books that are true since fairy tales are in there. Dewey has some issues. We have books about firefighters in the 300 section and the 600 section. While it's clear to me why that was done, it doesn't make things easier for my teachers who need books on community helpers. Dewey's also slow to catch up with the times. Graphic novels are typically cataloged in 741.5 along with other art books. However, that doesn't quite fit. What do we do with graphic novels that talk about science topics? Do we put them on the same shelf with Raina Telgemeier's graphic novels? And since we've pulled out most fiction from the 800 section, there's a lot of variation on how they are handled. Some librarians choose to put picture books with more mature content in with the chapter books, while others put them out and put them on a separate shelf. High school librarians might have a small section of picture books in the teacher's resources section. And what in the world is the right thing to do with short story collections? Librarians have been rearranging and recataloguing their collections into smaller sections based on their patrons' needs for years. It isn't a huge leap, then, when some of our daring predecessors went a step farther and further separated their books by genre. We call this genrefying or genrefication. It can include all of a collection's fiction, some of the fiction, a mix of both fiction and nonfiction, or the entire collection. Why I genrefied. I'm a librarian at an urban Title I school in Columbia, South Carolina. Last year was my first year at this particular school, though it was my 4th year as a librarian and my 11th year as an educator. When I started here, I took over from an expert librarian who had worked in the same library for her entire 30-year career. At first, I kept myself busy getting to know the books in our collection, tidying back rooms and refreshing decorations. If you'd asked me whether or not I would genrefy last year at this time, I would have told you that I didn't have time even to consider it. Then I went to our state library conference. I attended a seminar by a librarian who had genrefied her school's library. She had a wealth of resources and plenty of convincing photos. Before that seminar, I had believed that genrefication only looked one way and had to follow strict guidelines. I walked out of that meeting understanding genrefication's best attribute. It's extremely flexible. In my precious spare moments, I started researching other librarians who have genrefied. There are quite a few of them, and my excitement began to grow. The thing that was the tipping point for me was the number of times that these librarians touted the benefits their students were experiencing from genreification. It seems that many of my goals for my students could be met with the help of genreification. Building enthusiasm for reading, increasing independence in the library, and helping students find books that they loved. I was worried that the process would take me all summer to finish and require a lot of extra funding. Some librarians choose to go all out and invest in baskets for various series, fancy signs, decorations for each section, and elaborate stickers. However, that's a matter of taste and not a requirement. In fact, the total cost for my library's genreification was under $80. Once I made a plan, purchased the items I'd need, and got started, I was surprised at how quickly we were able to get things done. Granted, we waited until after checkout was done for the school year and worked on and off when we weren't needed for state testing. That made it much easier to make a big mess and clear all the books off the shelves. However, I'm confident that you don't have to stop checkout or make an enormous mess in order to genreify. I also had a lot of great things working in my favor. The time of the year was just right. I had an assistant to help me, and a retired librarian volunteered to alphabetize, and my principal is a great lover of trying new things to benefit our students. Also, I love to plan projects, break them down into manageable steps, and then work furiously until the project's finished. With all of these factors, I completed the bulk of the work in about a week. It was much easier than I had expected. Why you should genreify. One of my goals as a librarian is to help my students fall in love with reading. They spend so much time reading required and often dull text in the classroom. I want our kids to come to the library and experience the thrill of discovering a new author whose book captures their imaginations. Unfortunately, in the old days, this didn't happen as easily as I wanted it to. Students might pick up a book that has a fun cover, but they typically didn't seem to read much more than the first few pages. Of course, you'll get a rare kid who will read anything you hand him, but most kids are reluctant to actually read a book they've picked off the shelf unless they know that they'll really like it. Genreification helps with this problem tremendously. All of our kids love Diary of a Wimpy Kid, right? When that series is all checked out, they wander around, not knowing what to try next. If you create a genre shelf where Diary of a Wimpy Kid can be found and surround it with other books that are funny or have similar structure, students know that they are likely to enjoy the books in that section. They can help themselves to other things and often will actually try reading these books. It's as though the students are willing to take the risk and invest their time in a story if they just have a little bit more information about it. And genreification allows you to create whatever section your school needs. We call each section neighborhoods here, and the kids seem to have picked up that term pretty easily. Now, when a child asks me where the princess books are, I can direct her to our fairy tale neighborhood. If a fifth grader is looking for a Goosebumps book, I tell him to go to the spooky neighborhood, and often that's all I need to say. I bought a pack of pretty paper at a teacher's store, clear plastic frames at the dollar store, and have printed my own neighborhood signs. Kids can easily walk themselves over to whichever neighborhood